Hi, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon and Scraptember day number 29. Today's Scraptember prompt is black and white. And so I pulled a whole bunch of black and white product to play with. We are Scraplifting Wendy, who is a design team member for Paper Issues, and this is a sort of kind of print out of her layout so that I had something to look at while I work. And let's talk about what I pulled. So the first thing I did was I pulled this sheet of paper from Spectrum Gardenia. This is the black and white piece. I have some black alphas from Freckled Fawn, some black and white hearts from Freckled Fawn, some black and white washi stickers and label stickers from Freckled Fawn. I have several sheets of black and white Freckled Fawn paper. Not sure which ones I'm using here, but I've got those. I have a title pack from Thickers, and then a whole bunch of Spectrum Gardenia supplies. Now, I have an idea for these, and none of the colors will show if I end up using it. So I have that and all of these other bits and pieces from Spectrum Gardenia. I think she did some stamping on her layout. I will be skipping the stamping. I will maybe bring in a stencil that I have. We'll see. But I'm going to pause. We're going to go ahead and get started. And these are the photos I'm using, and these are, at this time this video goes live, these are less than a week old. So I'm not working in 2016, I am working in 2015. So I'm going to pause this video and I will be right back. All right, I don't know if you caught, I said 2015 a second ago. These are current photos. These are 2024. This was a trip that my husband and I took for a date night. It was pretty cool. We went to the Flying W Ranch in Colorado Springs and had a dinner show with some Western music, and we dressed the part. So I did decide to use this stencil. It is a grungy stencil. I think it's from Dusty Attic, and it is one of my favorite ones. So I'm going to be using the plaid paper. I really like this plaid paper, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make the banner ends, and I just decided that it was a little bit too wide, so I'm going to cut it down. These papers are 6 by 8, and so now I'm going to like loosely, I'm not going to crease, fold in half, and I'm going to cut a piece of banner, like the little fishtail, and then I'm going to take the other one, the one that I just cut off, and I'm going to use it to cut the other side. This is the only way I can actually get them even. I'm sure there are better ways, but this is the way that I do this, because otherwise I would never ever get both sides even. So those make me pretty happy. I've got that part taken care of, and I'm going to scuff up the edges of this piece of pattern paper with my Tim Holtz Distress tool. Now, I don't know if you noticed on the Wendy's layout, she took the pieces that she cut out to make her fishtails, and she put them at the top left and bottom right of her layout, and I will be doing the same thing. I actually almost missed that on her layout, and I was glad that I saw it in time to actually use it, because typically I would just toss those little pieces that I cut out to make my little banner. I did an X in the center of my pattern paper, and the reason I did that is because I want to make sure that I have the ability to tuck things behind it if I want to. I'm not sure that I'm going to be doing that, but I wanted that ability, so I made sure that I left space at the top. So I'm using my wet glue to glue down the little pieces that I cut out. I'm scuffing them up first, and then I'm going to glue them down on the top left and bottom right, and that way it'll mimic the same as hers. I almost left the top one off because there's already a printed design on there, but I decided it still looked okay, and I went ahead and just put it on there. Now, her photos are straight on her photo mat. Mine will not be. And I am not actually going to be putting a mat on my photos. I believe hers were matted in white. I am not going to be doing that. I scuff up the edges of my photos to expose that white core. I do that very often when I don't want to put a mat. And so because I have such a small banner piece in the center, I did not want to add more real estate to those photos by matting them. And I'm also going to put mine on there wonky. That is just my way of making this layout my own. Now, I love Wendy's beautifully colorful layout. Color is my favorite, and I'm going to be honest with you, I really always struggle when I'm challenged to do a layout in black and white. But I am absolutely pleased with how this one turned out. It really showcases the color in my photos, which is kind of the point, isn't it? So next up, I'm going to just start cutting bits and pieces from the stuff that I have decided to use for this layout. I cut a frame in half, and I put one piece on either side on the banner. And I'm scuffing up this little piece here that I cut down, and I'm going to tuck it under there so that it kind of fills up the space of the frame. I don't know that Wendy did that with hers, but like I said, I'm not going to have an exact scrap lift. I'm just using hers as a bouncing off point. The biggest difference is, of course, mine is not going to have all the beautiful color that hers has. So I have this little, I believe it's a heart. And again, most of the stuff that I'm using came from Spectrum Gardenia. And as you know, that is a very colorful collection, but it also came with a lot of black and white pieces. These tags, as I said, you are not going to be seeing the color on them. I'm going to use them to mimic what Wendy has at the very bottom of her layout. I am not going to be leaving enough space between my photo mat and these tags, so my title is going to end up at the top of my layout, where hers is in between those two pieces on hers. And you know, it's okay to make a scrap lift your own. When somebody scrap lifts me, I don't expect them to do everything exactly the same. I'm honored if they do, but it isn't necessary. I think it is a great bouncing off point, and it's good to make layouts your own. So now I am going to pull out these hearts from the center of this film strip. I actually don't think the film strip makes it on the layout. For now, I just kind of stick that little banner piece that says love this. That is not where it's going to end up in the end. I will move things around constantly as I sit here and play. I liked this little white tag that says joyful on it. It goes with how we were feeling in these photos, and the story that I'm actually telling about these photos is not the date night that we went on. I'm actually telling a story of learning to be empty nesters. It's a very short story, but when we moved from Kentucky to Colorado, we left our son, our last baby, who lived with us in Kentucky, and all of our other children live in 4 other different states. And so we are officially and suddenly empty nesters. And I'm going to be honest with you, that has been really tough for this mom. I have struggled with that. I miss my kids. I miss making food for them and loving on them and talking to them, because they're all adults now, and you know, they're not the type of work that they were when they were little. But as a mom, I've really, really loved being their mom, and I've enjoyed having them at home. And so to suddenly go from having a house full of kids to none. I mean, technically we had 2 when we got to Kentucky, and then our youngest moved out last October rather suddenly. And no, she's not mad. Nobody's mad at anybody. She just wanted to go live with her partner, and that is awesome. She's thriving and doing really well. I'm proud of her. But it was hard for her to leave when she did, because I was not ready for the baby to leave. I thought I had another year with her, and I didn't. So anyway, Seth stayed at home. He got an apartment before we actually moved, but he spent most of his time at home. He really wasn't sleeping in his apartment until right before we actually moved. Anyway, so long drawn out explanation. We are empty nesters. We love one another. We love spending time with each other, but it has been a change. And there are days when I am extremely lonely because he's gone for a long time during the day at work, which of course he would be because he's busy. And so I spend the greatest part of the day alone, and that's been an adjustment as well. And it's an adjustment that I'm enjoying, but sometimes it would be nice to have kids to hang out with. Anyway, back to the layout. I already mentioned that I am putting my title at the top, and I'm using the word continued from this pack of thickers. It's an older one, and I'm titling this Life with You Continued because now we get to enjoy the time together, and that is the good part about being empty nesters. It's just the 2 of us again. And you know, it's been a long time raising 5 children. They range in ages from 32 down to 19, and so we've been pretty busy being mom and dad. And so it is amazing to be able to spend time with him and, you know, really not work on our marriage, but, you know, enjoy our marriage. So anyway, I am titling this Life with You. The letters here are puffy letters from Freckled Fawn. They are quite a pain in the neck, and they will have to be individually glued with wet glue. Should have done that as I was putting them down there, but I didn't. So now I'm just going to decide where I'm going to put some more of these phrases. I thought that I would get all of the phrases that I used on here. I didn't. But, you know, I'm really liking how this is turning out. And now I'm just going to kind of keep adding some more layers. I'm adding a lot of layers at the bottom of this layout, so it is going to be very layer heavy down there. Now I'm taking these black and white hearts, and I'm going to add a few of those. I use mostly the black ones. I think I get 1 white one on here, maybe 2. And these do not stick well, so they will have to be glued down with wet glue. But I'm pretty happy with the way this is going at this point. As per my usual, I do want to make sure I get a spot for journaling, so I pull off a circle sticker from this Freckled Fawn label set. It has lines on it, so I'll be able to journal just fine. All right, I got this layout done, and I am really happy with it. I was not sure about doing a black and white layout. I wasn't sure that I could pull it off and make it look good. And also Scraplift, Wendy, her layout is amazing. I love all the color. Color is my favorite, so I always struggle when I'm challenged to use a black and white color theme or non-color theme, since they're technically not colors. But I do love this. I love that I was able to use up so much product and still kind of get a layout similar to Wendy's. I did get some journaling on here, and I got some puffy stickers on here, and I had to move my title up here versus down here, but I'm okay with that, and everything is just the way I want it. So I'm happy with this. Thank you so much for coming to my channel today. There are going to be 2 playlists below today. One for Scraplift Crafternoon for today, and one for Scraptember for the entire month of September. So make sure that you click on both of those. My Scraplift Crafternoon tribe does an awesome job each week lifting different layouts, and we always get permission to lift from the original creators. So if you would like for us to Scraplift you, please holler, and you can tell us what layout you want us to Scraplift, and we will be absolutely thrilled to do so. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.